everyone, this is ZeroRaptor coming back at you yet again, and today I am going to be making the next part, which apparently is a middle unit. This one should be a pretty quick one. The F unit. This one, I think I pretty much painted all the parts that are visible, but we'll find out. There we go again. Fortunately, I have ninja reflexes, but it doesn't always work out. Okay, make sure it's all smooth out. I mean, you're going to want the pieces, even if it's internal, you're going to want it to be smoothed out, because then you don't want any rough edges in case you have like moving parts and stuff, and that'll interfere with that. Also, since last time I went and I touched up all the exposed parts, so now there shouldn't be any weird ungunmetaled part on the legs. So, looking a lot better. I don't remember the knee being exposed to this degree in the movie. Or maybe there's going to be some extra armor towards the end. That makes sense to me. Alright. So you might have noticed I'm doing this in the morning, so there's going to be a bit of noise outside my room because I live in a pretty small house with paper walls. So a lot of sound travels through here. Try as I might to do this in a quieter area, but that's just what I have to deal with. And also my iguana might be roaming around from time to time because she's free roam. I did potty train her, so she's totally and completely potty trained. I have a little potty area for her, so she's not going to make a mess anywhere, but right now she's kind of shedding, so gotta keep an eye on that, make sure she's not shedding on anything important. Again, when you're dealing with paints and thinner, be sure you're in a well-ventilated area, otherwise you're going to spend this whole time getting high, which, I mean, it's up to you if you want to get high, but for me, I'd rather not. So an inherent problem when trying to paint a kit with a paintbrush as opposed to airbrushing is that you're gonna get streaks in your kit. I mean, if you use a good enough paint that spreads itself around, you're not gonna get as much of a streaking issue. But if you're using really bad quality paint, then it's gonna be pretty obvious. Like I said, you get what you pay for. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Like when I was painting my storm sorter up there, I had to use a paintbrush because, again, I don't have an area in my house that I can dedicate to airbrushing. So there's a lot of streaks on the storm sorter because I use a paintbrush. I mean, there's a way you can use a paintbrush without getting streaks. You just have to be really patient and, again, use good quality paints. There we go. This is a middle unit. I'm guessing this is where the legs go. Also, when you're dealing with, if you're doing an extensive paint job, don't do what I just did. I mean, if you're just doing touch-up work, then yeah, it's fine to just get the paint directly from the jar, but ideally, when you're doing an extensive amount of painting, you're going to want to pour out the paint onto like a painter's palette, or in this case I have these little painting bowls, which I got it just in case, but I don't think I'm going to have to do any extensive painting, so I'm mostly going to be doing touch-up work. But when you're doing an extensive amount of painting, you're going to want to pour it out, because what happens is, like, I mean, it's paint. It's going to dry, and you don't want your entire jar to dry out, right? Because then that's going to be a waste of money. So what you want to do is you want to pour it out. I mean, estimate how much you may or may not use, or do like I did. I pour out like a little bit at a time. It's tedious, I know, but then it's going to save you money in the long run, because then you're not drying out as much paint compared to if you were just painting directly from the jars. So as convenient as it is to go directly from the jar, if you're doing a lot of painting and not touch-up work, is like, pour it out. Don't be lazy, just pour it out. That way, if it dries up, it's like you didn't dry up the whole jar. Again, pay attention to the drawings, because it's going to tell you which part of the piece is an essential nub, or an essential part of the piece, actually, yeah. Or if it's going to be like a sprue that you're going to have to cut off. Like I said, if you're not careful, you're not paying attention, you can cut off an essential piece even though it looks like a sprue, and then you're going to be in trouble, because you can't glue a nub back on. It's just not possible. These pieces that are on a curve. Since, like, well, I can only cut in a straight line. How am I supposed to cut on a curve? And yes, Gundam and Zoids have that issue too. Like, sometimes they have the sprue right on a curve line, and you have to figure out how to angle your cutter so you make the smoothest cut possible without ruining the shape of the piece. I know there's a lot of people who debate whether you should break the piece off and then paint it individually, which, yes, that method would have much better coverage, because then you would have the opportunity to sand down the piece and then paint it, so then you don't have to worry about these nubs. But at the same time, unless you know exactly what pieces are going to be exposed, I mean, you might end up painting over pegs, and that's going to make it thicker and harder for you to piece it together later on. I mean, again, every model kit builder is going to do things differently. Some would like to break out the pieces, sand it down, paint it, wait until the paint dries, and then put it together, which would end up taking about, like, at least an hour per piece, depending on, like, how many pieces there are and what kind of paint job you're going to do. Because some people do some pretty awesome paint job. Like, some people do, like, gradients. I'm just doing, like, solid colors. But yeah, it's entirely up to you. If you're interested in starting out. I'm just saying this is my method, whether or not people agree with it or not. And my method is just painting it on the runner. I don't feel like going through the tediousness of breaking it off the runner and then sanding it down and then painting over it and then assembling it and then moving on to the next piece, and it just doesn't seem very efficient to me. That's just me. Also, it's a lot easier for me to paint it on the runner, given that I have a paintbrush. I guess if you have an airbrushing station, it's like you just break off the pieces, stick them on toothpicks, and just, like, airbrush it, like, all at once. So, I mean, if you have that, that's more efficient. But for me, I'm stuck with a paintbrush, so it's just easier for me to paint it right on the runner and then just touch it up afterwards. Oh, it's trippy. the letters on here. Yeah, so every model kit, I think, has a runner called the PC runner, and these are all like the little interconnecting parts and joints. Like these are not going to show up at all in the final assembly, so you don't have to worry about painting these ever. But like Gundam has it, Zoids has it, and I guess Jaegers have it too. Except theirs, like usually like the PC runner, all the pieces are flexible, because being interconnected joints, it's easier to like squeeze them in, because some of them, like you have the ball joints and other like movable parts, and you want them to be flexible, so then it's easier to get the pieces together. So it's kind of interesting that Max Factory, their PC runner is like all plastic. So I mean, on the one hand, it's gonna make the kit more stiff, so then you have better posability, but on the other hand, it makes it really hard to join pieces together because they're so stiff. And I think I might have cut off the wrong piece. It's supposed to be C, and I cut off an E. Alright, you gotta be careful with that. Hopefully I'm gonna use it in the next part. Oops. This way. Ah! I found it! I found it. Now see, this is the issue with the PC pieces being just plastic like the rest of them, because you're gonna have to force them into these tiny peg holes. Okay, so and then it's like it's really hard to get the pieces to line up because they're not flexible. There we go. Alright. Nope. I mean, if it was easy, then I wouldn't be into this hobby. That way, once you finish it, you can admire how much work you put into it. I'm going to touch up some parts on here. So I got the legs done. I got this middle unit, as they call it. And then I have this waist unit. So slowly coming together. And now chest unit. Doesn't look like the LED plays a role in here. Actually, I haven't opened this yet. I wonder what it looks like. It doesn't look like I have to use it yet. Don't tell me I'm going to open up the chest and put the LED in. That's going to be a pain in the butt, considering how tightly these pieces are all fitting together. Oh, now we have the numbers. So numbers mean there's a particular order you have to put the pieces together in, and if you put the pieces out of order, they're not going to fit together. And then given again how tight these pieces have been going together, if you do this out of order, there's no way to fix it. Well, I mean, there's a way to fix it, but it runs the risk of you breaking the parts. So yeah, go slowly, don't do it out of order, like follow the directions exactly. Okay, I got all the pieces snipped off as cleanly as I could, which includes this clear piece, which probably has to do with the LED unit, which I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it, because I mean, it's basically a little motherboard. yeah, I'm not seeing like any switch or anything. Like there's a switch, but I'm like, I'm not sure how it's supposed to work. So I'll figure it out when I get to it. I mean, so far I haven't seen anything that involves the LED motherboard, so I guess I don't have to worry about that for now. Boy, that's tight. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to use my clamp because it's in a really, really awkward spot. Probably use this. Because it's supposed to snap into place, but the snapping component is like really tight. This is really stiff plastic. It's a lot stiffer than Gundam, which again would make it a much more durable figure, but at the same time it's like, I can't even squeeze these pieces together because you made it so stiff.
3 hours later.
Well, it's in there. Doesn't look like it's too... Like, it doesn't look like I marred the plastic too much. So, hopefully... It won't break eventually if I twist it too much. Well, I just gotta be careful, that's it. Alright, so 3... This part... Just slide it in here. Okay. Then 4 is this little plastic. Slide it in there. Simple enough. And finally, put this in. Alright, that was an ordeal. Okay, now to move on to the next part. Hopefully all the touch-up that I've done is dried by now. I mean, I've done slight touch-ups, so they should dry pretty quickly. Excuse me. Alright, next part, I got this little thing. This is the nuclear turbine. Let's put this one in first. Still not sure when the LEDs motherboard's supposed to get put in, because still not seeing it. Maybe it's later? Because I'm almost done with like the front chest, so like the back is still open, so maybe I'll do it in the next step. Because it's neat, because some of the armor, it's removable. Like these is just slots in and out, so if you want to do like maintenance poses and stuff, you can like pull it off and it'll have like the underlying mechanics, just like in the movies. Or movie. There's only one movie. There was no sequel. Right, Pacific Rim fans? Still waiting for Guillermo del Toro to get a studio to greenlight Maelstrom. Looking forward to that, if it ever gets underway. Alright, chest is looking pretty cool. Still haven't gone to the back part yet with the LED, but I think we're about to get there. I think there's a few more pieces and then it's gonna get to the LED motherboard. Okay, it on without any glue. Don't know why it says I would have to like put some glue on. Well, it's in Japanese, so it could either be glue or lubricant. Glue makes more sense, but I mean the reason why I like I prefer snap-on model kits like Gunpla and Plamex and Zoids because you shouldn't require glue. Or just saying like I might need to use glue. Yeah, I got this. The piece is going in, but I think the plastic isn't holding it, so now it's like it's not sitting flush. So maybe that's why it says possibly need glue. Because one of them's going in, the other one's not. It's going in, but it's not staying in. Yeah. So this one's tucked in, this one's not, so I might have to end up gluing that one in. Oh. Okay, so I had a thought. Given that painting on a peg would make it thicker, so it would have a harder time going to the peg. Given that one side of these rockets isn't holding it on tightly, I figured I could paint it, and hopefully once it dries I could reattach these vents, and hopefully the paint will act kind of like glue, or like it'll add friction to the peg, and then it should hold it on, hopefully. I'm waiting until that dries and then we'll see. Okay, now I guess we're going into the LED stuff, and I need to okay, it turns out I probably didn't need to paint these pieces after all, but I mean, at least they look cool. So this is what the motherboard's going to be sitting inside. Alright, here goes. I got pretty much one chance at this. Fortunately, I got my little screwdriver. Oh, I need batteries. This is the first kit I've ever done where I have to actually screw parts in. Kind of interesting. Well, there it is. That's the LED. Okay, I was afraid I was gonna have to like wire it in and stuff, but yeah, there's a little switch so you can turn it on and off. Okay, that's cool. Well, now I need to get batteries for this thing because it uses these little like the cell batteries. So I'm gonna have to go out and buy some. I guess at this point I could just leave the chest unfinished because I still need to buy the batteries because it looks like I have to put that power box in, and then there's like 3 pieces that go over it to cover it up, and yeah, I don't know if I can. I mean, it looks like I could it looks easily removable. I'm just worried I'm not going to be able to take it out. Alright, it worked. I don't have to use super glue after all. The paint helped hold the vents in.
6 hours later.
Okay, I'm back. I went on a little shopping trip, which is why I had to change my clothes. I tried to find some batteries for it. It says LR41. I wasn't able to find that, but I found the 364. I don't know if LR41 is a Japanese specific battery. Are batteries universal? I guess I'll find out. So I'll unscrew this now that I've already marked it. Okay. Just a little motherboard. It looks like it could fit. Awesome. Okay. Guess I found the right battery after all. Okay. Well, that works. Guess I'll have to keep in mind LR41. I'll have to look that up. Alright, so this works. Amazingly. I don't think it's not exactly the right battery, but I mean, it's like I just eyeballed it by size. So we'll see how long these last. Alright, something actually worked out today. I mean, that took a while because everyone's out shopping. I mean, fortunately, it hasn't been too bad. Like, I got these batteries at a Walmart, not the Walmart. Like, I have two Walmarts within driving distance, and the one that's closest to me is not a really big store, so I didn't want to have to. I had a feeling they probably wouldn't have this particular battery, but there's a superstore that's a little farther away, and that's where I got these batteries. Alright, so batteries in, lights work. I guess I shove this in first. This way. Maybe I shouldn't have painted this because now it's like getting really stuck in there, which is gonna be a pain if I have to change batteries. I mean, it has a little slot so I can like try to pry it out, but I shouldn't have painted that. Now it's gonna be even harder for me to change its batteries. Well, that's a problem for future me. Hey, that's cool. Okay, and then these pop in here. Is it supposed to snap, or is it just supposed to just sit in there? Oh, there we go. I heard a clunk. Alright. And then got this. Oops, I missed a step. Okay. Put that there. There's supposed to be 3 more pieces I'm supposed to cut out. Alright. Got all the intermediate pieces that I missed. Now I'm on the next part, which is finally closing this off. Alright, so there's the chest piece. That took almost all day. Yeah, it looks like if I wanted to turn it on and off, I would have to remove this piece and go like this. Yeah. Which I guess is fine. So if you want to, like, you don't want a little weird switch sticking out, because then that's going to make it look really toy-like. So I guess that's not too bad. And it comes off fairly easily, so I don't have to worry about it having to like accidentally break it or anything. Alright, so here we go. Everything's done. So now we got the legs of Gypsy Danger. Got her middle part, her torso, I believe, and then the chest. I guess next would, this is probably, it's gonna finish off with the and the head, the arm, and the interchangeable plasma cannon stuff. So I'll be saving that for next time. I'm tired after having to run to the store. Like, I didn't run to the store just to get batteries. Like, I had other stuff that I wanted to get done too, and I was like, well, if I'm already out and about, might as well also grab some batteries, because I was also waiting for this to dry up too, because I did some more touching up. So anyways, that'll be all for this video. Tune in next time to maybe see me finish Gypsy Danger, put her together, do some like action shots or something. So until next time, this is ZeroRaptor signing off. Laters.